This is Anthony Mitchell, and you are listening to a new episode of the End Zone Club. So, hey, business is business. First thing first. If you have not done so by now, please subscribe to the content of this podcast so that every time we put out a new episode, you can be on the cusp of some cutting edge information. And that means if you're going to subscribe, also share this information with your friends so that they too can be blessed. But most importantly, find the donate button and give $1 so that we can keep doing in the community what we have been doing, from our free football, basketball, dance camps to all of the other youth leadership activities that we provide. But anyway, let the beat rock, and you are getting ready to enjoy a new episode in 3, 2, 1. So if you guys remember 2 episodes ago, I gave you just a little taste of a man that I've been introduced to, who's a comic book creator, and we are working on some projects together in the form of Terry Hall, who is building an empire by way of Chicago, Atlanta, and several other cities. Well, today is the day that we have him on, but I'm hoping that you guys would be considerate, because we did have, for some odd reason, weird audio technical issues. But let's jump into today's episode in 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, give us a few seconds. We're having some technical audio difficulties right now. But anyway, today I am excited about today's special guest. I'm going to introduce him in a minute. But today, man, this has been a fun, action-packed day. Actually, been on calls all day long. One of such was a morning Zoom call we had that was a 3-part trilogy. It was the Knockout, the Manila, and the Thrilla in Manila. Is that? But anyway, we had the first section. We had a pastor that kind of brought manhood from a ministerial standpoint, and then from there we had a military standpoint, which I had a panel of guys. Had a Marine on, me, in addition to another former retired Air Force guy, and then we had an Army major rock the house, and then after that we had several former NFL players that were in the house and that did their thing. Collectively came together as a group of guys. We had kind of like this one goal in mind, which was to empower young men. And I must say, I think we did well with it. So I'm excited about that. So I'm still reeling on the heels of that. Let's give a shout out. Let's give a shout out to those guys that made that happen. There we go. Let's, of course, looks like my guy, Mr. Terry, is in the building. So with no further delay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get this interview started now that we got all of our technical difficulties out the way. But this interview has been a month in the works. And
it was the behind the scenes stuff.
Oh yeah, some behind the scenes stuff. A month in the works. This is going to be an episode. I'm going to kind of freelance a little bit, but we're going to have a conversation that I think is necessary to the culture. So with no further ado, I think it would do him better justice if he introduces himself. But my special guest, drop a bomb on him. Tell him who you are. What got you here? Let's go from there, my guy.
Yeah, because actually it's a list of acolytes. A list. So I would say radio personality, TV talk show host, comic book creator, film producer. The list goes on. Action star. Yeah,
all the above. So you sound like duct tape, but just better. Man, with those list of accolades that you just dropped, I gotta go back in time, because typically anytime you hear people that are as versatile as yourself, there's a story behind it. Before we even get to the comic book side, you said press. Tell me the story behind that.
Man, because like I said, what made me got into radio, because I recently had moved to Atlanta during that time. So definitely moving to Atlanta from Chicago was a different transition. So definitely, you can't, God don't make mistakes of what the blueprint of your journey. So therefore, I was a guest on a friend's show, and the owner approached me to actually, do I want to be a radio personality? Because I had the voice, the it factor, basically. So I just gonna say the it factor. So yeah, I signed on, and then he was like, first of all, I could tell you're trouble. And you're going to change the world of media. And he never lied. The owner, George Jones, shout out to him for WANFM. If it wasn't from him, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in right now.
So with that said, is this something that you saw yourself really doing, or is this something you just kind of grew into? Kind of like once you got in there, how fast did you just grab it and take off with it?
I just gravitated instantly once I started my first show. Everything just fell into place. And when things start falling into place, because like I said, I changed the whole industry of radio broadcasting by being myself, not being who I'm not, but I just being myself and just be open, honest, and transparent.
Which honestly, if we think about it, that's something a lot of this industry is lacking. A lot of what we see in media now is really built on the idea of image, and being a personality is that. So a lot of times we don't get our true selves when we get people such as yourself. So I got to applaud you, first of all, for your realness and your transparency. But I do have to know, so within like this developing as a radio personality, were there any interviews, any like interesting guests you ever had? Kind of like, what was the highlight?
Dude, it was a list, because like to the whole Church of Chicken incident, to talking about the owner on the show, having a former WWE female wrestler on the show. Yeah, the list goes on. It meant some amazing things.
So, I used to be real big in Church's Chicken. What's the incident? It's my first time hearing about it.
Oh my God, that was a true, fun, interesting situation, because basically, people gotta understand, when you're in media, and like I said, you never know who that person is. And then, like I said, the customer's always right. You can't get an attitude, and you can't assume what the people that buildings across from you is all about. So it was funny about that. I was hungry, didn't feel like going to Popeye Chicken across the street, so I said, oh hell, the Church of Chicken is right next to the station. So went to Church Chicken. One, the lady was rude. Not only that, the chicken was greasy. So when you work at a radio station, you have crowds and crowds and crowds of people and cars. So the manager came over with the police, thought, he thought we were doing drugs or whatever he was assuming. But when he saw it was just a radio station and you're empty rotary my show, it's going to be problems. There was going to be problems. And trust me, it caused a lot of problems. It had to shut down.
That's one of the unfortunate parts about it. I think we all have these unpopular stories about bad customer service, places we've been that, we want to pull our hair out. But one thing about it is there's always a positive side. There's always a positive side. And sometimes I always say that there's no such thing as bad publicity. All publicity is good publicity. And I'm sure that helped out your platform as well.
I just say I like stirring up stuff, but I keep it real and open, honest, and transparent at the same time.
With that said, a lot of people that'll be tuning in probably know you from the radio personality. However, where you and I have really begun to click kind of goes back to a childhood passion of mine. And, growing up as a young black artist, I loved to draw. Art was a passion. Big comic book fan, but there weren't many guys like me in my community. Now, where you and I have kind of transitioned and kind of crossed paths is we share both a love for comics and art and various things that we've met on that platform. Let's talk about, for you, how that love for comics and art got started.
You gotta look at it. Comics is our pop culture for many, many, many years. It evolved to now $1 billion business, thanks to Marvel and DC. So since that's said and done, with Marvel with the TV series and also the movies, same thing with DC with the TV series. Now it's time for us to break that barrier with our own universe as well.
And that universe being
our own. Us as African Americans as superheroes, but make it diverse.
So for those who don't know, Terry, you've been on a journey for creating, as you were just mentioning, your own comic book line, not just characters, but companies. How has that been? Has it been stressful? developing business, getting
No,
contacts?
it's
How has
not
that process been?
one, when you already in this industry and you got access to stuff, why share that access with other people to get into this door in this industry with their comments? It's really, really simple, because in this industry you gotta know somebody to get you where you need to be at in this door.
And
It's
that's a parallel truth in a lot of areas, because even military, I was just talking to a group of young men this morning, and something I try to relate to them is, as successful or as hard as I felt like I worked, it always pays to have people in rooms that are speaking your name and that are really putting it out there. For you, have you experienced that, where there have been people, maybe some heavy hitters, some guys that were familiar with your work? Has there been anybody also that has kind of opened doors for you as well?
No, not really, because like I said, I tell people I started off with my characters on my t-shirts being that billboard, being that product, and me being already in this industry in radio broadcasting and other accolades I do. It started catching on.
Agreed.
I'd rather be a leader than a
Agreed.
follower.
And you said something just a second ago when you were talking about basically having your own brand on your t-shirts. You're a walking billboard for creative ideas you've given. Something we always try to impress in the kids is always be able to express yourself artistically, whatever it is, whether it's vocally, as a singer.
And then also I partnered up with Stephen Kitchen, and like I said, partnered up with him, and we're bringing out a better universe as well. And that's why I'm bringing on other artists, other writers, etc. Because now I have access to these production companies.
Let's talk about that. How do you get that kind of access?
Me being media, I have a press pass. So by me having that press pass, doing media coverage for private premieres for this film, that film, because I was on the private premiere for Black Panther. Now I'm about to do one for Black Adam, and the list goes on. And I'm in media. Everybody knows how I am. So definitely everybody's been watching. Everybody's been seeing with Hood Wars, Akaya, now the TJ comic book TV series that's about to be shot in Chicago in April 2023, Black Savage, and also King TJ, and more.
All right, let's unpack that for a minute, because some of the listeners may not be aware of Hood Wars or Sakaya or some of the other brands. Kind of give me the genesis behind some of that. Talk about each one of them and what they represent.
If you create a universe, you want a universe that's going to make an impact. And I kind of like the universe I created, because we talk about women empowerment, we talk about this, we talk about that. It's that must factor. It's that must factor. That's what we're missing in our society, is that must factor to make things sense.
So how does Hood Wars tie into that? What is Hood Wars for the casual listener?
Boy, Hood Wars is not your typical average comic book series, because actually you look at a big city that, with crime, this, that, and the third, but then again, you have those heroes who's trying to make a difference. You have other people of our city and community trying to make a difference, trying to get rid of the bad garbage of crime and villains.
Which is, a reflection a lot of times of real life. And I'm sure Zakaya, does that have like a similar pattern, or is that a different storyline completely?
Zakaya is a different breed. She's like this ultimate superhero from another planet coming to Earth and, trying to make things right in her past because of what she's been through in the planet she's on, because she's a princess. Not only that, she was also a slave.
So she's got the whole dual dichotomy. She's seen the highs, but she's also been through some lows. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly.
Something I always like to talk to people that are in a creative space, and I think you've really established a good platform for that. Was there any rejections that made you work harder? Was there any time you were misunderstood, or kind of how has that been for you? Have you always been accepted?
A misunderstood is very interesting, because basically when you're outside the box, you're that leader. People misunderstood people like us because we're leaders. We're not the follower. We're our own brand. We are trendsetting. That's what people call us misunderstood for.
Agreed.
And also I define authority.
That sounds like a conversation for another day.
Oh, because when you're called the bad boy of radio, the Dennis Rodman of entertainment and media, it makes a better sense of who I am.
But something I've seen you do often that I think really is supported here on this platform is I often see you give credit to God for being the giver of blessings and not allowing you to miss out on a lot of things. At what point did your relationship with God become a factor in your success?
One, I think the whole through life, the whole chain of life, because like I said, God He put out when we come on this earth, He already know our journey, the blueprint. We just following the blueprint He has set for us.
Indeed. I like that. So moving forward, now that we understand your genesis through where you are now, kind of talk to everybody about whatever you can talk about, maybe some of the big things that's getting ready to happen for your comic book company.
Okay, we about to drop the TJ comic book TV series in Chicago for April 2023. So we're going to be shooting in Chicago. And with that said and done, by the end of this year, we probably have the script ready for Hood Wars, Zakaya, and all the other characters in 2 different states.
So guys, stay tuned, because as you're seeing, we are in a culture now where, Black Lightning, Black Panther, I'm sure Static Shock will be coming up. We saw Luke Cage break Netflix. So many people were watching that you could not get on. So now that this lane is created, I do have to know, what is the ultimate desire or goal that you seek to get from the audience interaction with your brand?
I mean, it's something different. It's something that makes sense. And it's something that we needed now. Because like I said, for Marvel DC, now it's for another set of group of heroes to emerge to take over the future.
So you're talking future, but in your past, who were some of your influences, like guys that, not even artistically, but like other comic book heroes that you resonated with? Because all artistic people have somebody they look at and say, that's my guy, that's my guy. Don't like him, don't like her, love her.
We all grew up watching Batman and Robin. The list goes on. We can't deny that, because it wasn't for like the Batman TV series, Wonder Woman, Incredible Hulk, and the list goes on. It's been for generations.
I'm excited to see the trajectory, because I think you were recently talking about just when you had this idea for this particular portion of your journey, just how fast it's taken off. 5 years from now, where would Terry Hall be with his product?
I don't know. Only God knows.
I like that answer. Before we get out of here, something I often like to get my guests to do, I give them just an open air to share something encouraging with especially young people. But what is one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you were younger?
I mean, I really can't say nothing, because I had to think my upbringing from my parents and also my family. It's just like, cherish life and be valuable life, and also be humble. And also be patient when God got your blessing on the way.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. Comic book extraordinaire, creator, content creator, radio personality, good person, and somebody that you need to keep an eye on. Before we get out of here, anybody that wants to follow you or just stay on taps with everything you're doing, how can they follow you?
Follow me on my Facebook page, Terry T. Hall Jr. /TJ. Also follow me on my IG, which is Hall Jr. Terry T. And also my Twitter, Terry T. Hall Jr. 25.
There you go, guys. Make sure you give him a like, a follow, some subscription, and support him however he needs to be supported. But you guys know, here at the End Zone Club, we always have conversations that push you from walking in potential to actually fulfilling purpose. And there are a lot of young people, even older people, that will hear this content and say, hey, I've got an ability to draw. I have an ability to help. How do I link up? Well, that's how you do it. We are also looking for other artists to work with us to develop characters.
Spoiler alert, because you're working on 2 major projects from me as well.
They're not ready for that. They're not ready for that kind of weight. But guys, before he spoils too much, I'm going to get us out of here. And that's another edition of the End Zone Club. Stay tuned because this will not be the last interview. We will be dropping some more bombs in the near future. So like us, follow us, subscribe to us here at the End Zone Club. We will be talking some more. But until next time, Mr. Terry, I appreciate you, my friend.
Same here.
All right, guys. Give my guy a follow, like, and subscription. Until next time.